Ryan Zinke, considered by many to be an American hero, a former Special Forces operator with the U.S. Navy SEALs, a former congressman, he was tapped by U.S. President Donald Trump to become his Secretary of Interior. Now retired from government service, he's here in Istanbul talking about the future of U.S.-Turkey relations. I'm Oubai Shahbandar, and this is our one-on-one with former Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for joining us. You're here to discuss Turkish American economic ties. There seems to be a lot of opportunities. You discussed some of that in the conference today. Tell us more about what's going on there. Is there an opportunity for the United States and Turkey to be engaged in the business world, in the economic sense?
Well, it all starts with business, because when Turkey prospers, the region is far more stable. Now, as a former SEAL, and you understand that very clear, that when Turkey prospers and does well, the regions around Turkey tend to stabilize, and when Turkey stumbles, those regions around become uncertain.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of those potential areas of cooperation in terms of energy. Lots of energy. The United States becoming a net exporter, massive production of natural gas and oil. Lots of talk that Turkey may be one of the major customers.
Well, when the president came in office, the U.S. was producing around 8.3 million barrels a day. We went from 8.3 to over 12 million barrels a day in just 2 years.
That's huge.
So the U.S. sits now as the world's largest oil and gas producer, the largest in the world. Part of that consequence, though, of using technology, fracking, is you have a lot of gas. In fact, the U.S. has so much gas that now it's become a constraint, and the U.S. needs to find foreign markets for our gas. Flaring is non-sustainable for a lot of reasons environmentally, so it's wasteful. So looking at where gas and foreign markets can be generated, Turkey comes to mind very quickly.
Let's talk about the NATO alliance real quick. You're a former SEAL. You were just telling us that you had served actually in the Balkans alongside Turkish Special Forces.
I did, and I have great respect for the Turkish Special Forces, Turkish military, and that's where I really got to know the Turkish as a people, warm, generous, professional in their military.
Absolutely. As part of that bilateral relationship between the United States and Turkey, counterterrorism has been core. Fighting ISIS, fighting Daesh. You as a SEAL, you've seen it as an expert on foreign policy. How do you think that relationship is going to move forward on fighting terrorism?
Very tough neighborhood, and the fight on terrorism is a global fight among allies. We're all should stand shoulder to shoulder for terrorist activities. You know, the two militaries have gotten along, have a long history. Many of the officers on both sides, you know, they have exchanges. A lot of the officers grow up together, more or less. So there's a lot of mutual respect between the two militaries. They do a lot of joint operations.
Lastly, Mr. Secretary, we've heard from President Trump after his meetings with President Erdogan that the trade relationship is such a priority for this White House. You've touched a little bit upon that trade relationship being such a core aspect of the bilateral relationship, and it seems to be that the two presidents seem to have a warm relationship. How do you see that moving forward?
Well, the presidents, I think, do have a great relationship. They talk often. I'm absolutely in support of President Trump's goal of increasing trade between the two countries. I think that's wise policy. The president's very transparent. Just follow him on Twitter. He kind of says what's on his mind. But I think it strikes the core of the relationship is between U.S. and Turkey. There's a lot of reasons to make sure that we have an increase of trade, advanced technology, mutually beneficial trade that goes back and forth the countries. And I'm optimistic that this hiccup currently, we'll get it ironed out, because Turkey's too important not to have it ironed out.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.